when you take a look at the totality of what Mueller has done to his family, Russia is just a small part of what this man has done. He didn't just go after Donald Trump, he went after every Trump. He went after Trump associates. He went after people who live next door to Trump. When I tell you the United States government came after this man and his family, his business associates, the children of his business associates, with reckless abandon, they went after Charlie Kirk.
A post by President Trump from yesterday responding to the death of former special counsel Robert Mueller. He posted this, quote, "Robert Mueller just died. Good, I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people." Do you think it's appropriate for the President of the United States to celebrate the death of an American citizen, someone who's a Bronze Star, Purple Heart recipient and who served in Vietnam?
Kristen, I was with the President in the green room at Davos, and there was a video playing of what may have been an illegal raid on his home at Mar-a-Lago. They are going through his wife's wardrobe, and I watched the look in his eye, and I think that neither one of us can understand what has been done to the president and to his family.
But to the question of the president's post, I mean, Robert Mueller didn't order that raid. Is it appropriate for the president to celebrate the death of any American citizen,
again,
Mr. Secretary?
I think that given what has been done to President Trump and his family, it is impossible for either of us to understand what he has been through.
So you don't think that there's anything wrong with the post saying, good, Robert Mueller's dead?
Again, I think that we should all have a little empathy for what has been done to him and his family.
All right. All right. Well, you all know what Robert Mueller was a part of. Russia. That kind of catapulted President Trump. I mean, that plagued him from the very beginning, that when he announced, and to this day, even after the whole Mueller, the Russiagate, I mean, this thing has plagued him from day one. Shelley, what are your thoughts on what he said?
Well, as usual, I'm for free speech, but I'm going to add this caveat. The right cannot go saying to anybody, it makes it harder for the right to say that people should not talk about Charlie Kirk, disgusting comments. I mean, comments that are unbelievable. It makes it harder for the right to say that those people should be censored, called out, whatever the case. All is fair in love and politics, I guess.
Two things. One, even when he's not trying to look like a very wealthy man, Scott Bessent looks like he wipes his butt with $100 bills, doesn't he? He looks like what Richie Rich probably looks like. He cracks me up with that look on his face. And he's a very down-to-earth person. He can't help that he looks incredibly wealthy. But as far as President Trump is concerned, I know when you take a look at the totality of what Mueller has done to his family, Russia is just a small part of what this man has done. He didn't just go after Donald Trump. He went after every Trump. He went after Trump associates. He went after people who live next door to Trump. When I tell you the United States government came after this man and his family, his business associates, the children of his business associates, with reckless abandon, they went after Charlie Kirk. When you hear Charlie screaming, well, God rest his soul, you heard Charlie screaming and hollering when Trump won the presidency again. He says one of the reasons why he was so excited that Trump won is so he didn't have to go to federal prison. So understand, the American public, for the most part, only knows, the bird's eye view. They don't know the minutia on the ground. And when I tell you the Trump family and their associates have spent millions of dollars keeping themselves and their children out of jail simply because he's in the wrong party. This is what we mean when we say lawfare, not this foolishness with, Tish and all her relatives, not that kind of thing. But when they start coming after your children just because you were born in the wrong family, this was an outrageous attack on a former president of the United States. Outrageous attack. And it opened up the doors for other people to do it if they so chose. But I would say this, if I were advising the president, I would have asked him not to say anything, just to let it go by without comment. However, we all know who President Trump is. We all know that he's absolutely a New Yorker, although he lives happily in Florida. He's absolutely a New Yorker, and he's not going to let this moment go by without at least acknowledging how hard this man came after his family and those he loves and the people who work for him and the people that they loved. I mean, it's ridiculous what this man and his cohorts did. And, was it the better part of valor not to say anything? Probably, but he is who he is.
Yeah, he is. He is. Zero apologies, and he's not going to give fake sympathy. I mean, that's President Trump. When I first saw it, I was like, this isn't real. He didn't say that.
Oh, I knew he said it because it read like him. I could hear his voice in my head when I read it. I just feel like a lot of people don't know the horror that this family went through. I mean,
right. I agree. I agree. Like I said, when I first saw it, I didn't think he said it, but he, of course, he did say it. And at first, when I was thinking, I was like, wow, that was kind of harsh. But then, you know what? I started thinking about all the things that the Democrats have said, not just about President Trump, but as someone said in the chat, about Charlie Kirk, about Republicans, about Black Republicans, same with Biden, the despicable things they have said about President Trump after his assassination. And then not only about what they have said, but about what they haven't said. They will never, ever give President Trump any credit for the things that he has done for this nation, with the stock market and the jobs reports and the closing of the border. I mean, so many things. They will never give him credit for anything he's done. Anything. They vilify him for everything, and including this man, Mueller, all the corruption that went on with that. So I do get it. I do get it. Now, I don't believe anyone, at least as far as I know, I won't say not everyone, but most, I don't believe most on the right call for censorship. I don't recall anyone calling for censorship, deplatforming. Now we'll say, people have said, horrible things and, I wish they weren't online, or I wish they didn't have their show or whatever but I don't think anyone is calling for like YouTube or ABC, CBS, anything to remove anyone off.
Oh, yes, they have. But they have. But my point is this. I don't care one way or the other. I just want it to be free speech, period.
Right.
Like
You
don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it, whatever. Yeah. President Trump said something similar when someone else died recently. I can't remember who it was. But this is, like you said, this is who he is.
It's free speech.
This is who the right selected. We know who he is. I'm not upset either way. I'm not clutching my pearls, that I am so offended by either the left or the right. I just want it to be equal, that if it's going to be dished out on the left, it can be on the right and vice versa. So that's all I'm saying. But we have Carol here. Carol has a super chat. For $2. Carol says, I'm sorry, Kung Fu CJ, $2 super chat. Thank you. He says there is no but. Cuss her ass out, Shelly. Okay. Oh my gosh. Carol also, thank you for your $2. Carol says, I won't say anything bad, but no tears for Mueller, whatever his name is. God rest his soul. I just say rest in peace, whatever. I just want, again, don't tell people, well, because you attacked the guy that I support and like, now, you got to go, you should be fired. Oh, no, have it out. Have it out. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. All is fair in love and politics.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think, at least I have not heard anyone mention this is a free speech issue. I think people understand that he has the right to write or say this. I think it's whether or not they felt like this was, morally right or
in good taste.
Right.
And I'm saying that free speech does not have to mean that someone has to say something more.
Again, I don't know why
because that's the point that I'm making, KJ. Because other people have not made that point does not mean that I can. This is free speech too.
Right,
Okay.
right. Of course, yeah. We know he has free speech to say that. The question is whether it was right for him to say it.
And I get that. And I'm saying all things being equal, it's right in the sense that on both sides, people can say what they want. It's disgusting, as good, up, down, whatever, as they want about whomever. And just because it happens to be the person that I may agree with or not, okay, fine. That's what the marketplace, if you will, of social media should allow.
Absolutely. And
But
people
there are
comment
caveats.
on it. People
There
can
there
comment.
there
And
are
we have
limits.
we have our opinions on perspectives on it. Right.
There
I'm
are
sorry,
certainly
what were you saying,
limits to quote unquote free speech. There are certainly limits, and a lot of the people who have been fired from their jobs, especially there's for whatever reason so many people in healthcare that have been let go from their jobs, not because they disagreed, not because they didn't like Charlie Kirk and had their reasons for not liking President Trump, but when you threaten the life of someone,
That's
a
different.
whole horse of a
I've
different color.
always said
Yeah.
most
Wait a
nine
minute,
times
wait a
out of 10,
minute,
I say free speech. I normally say threatening someone with violence. Of course, that's off the book. But again, there have been people who were, I don't know, pushed out. I'm using the word censoring maybe in the broadest sense. But my point is that all things are equal in love and politics.